Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lunchroom Syndicate. I am Christopher with part 2 of my uniform tier list. Today, we are talking about the AFC North and NFC North. If I'm going to be frank and be a little spoiler, pretty good looking divisions overall. Then there might be one or two, but we will get to those next. All right, the first team we're doing here in part 2 is the Baltimore Ravens, the purple and black. Fairly unique combination of colors. Only, I believe, one other team has even purple in their combination, and Baltimore uses it well. I love these uniforms. Despite me hating the team, because admittedly I do not like the team, I think it is a very, very good looking bunch. Solid black helmet. Well, a little bit of a rough logo. I'm not the hugest fan of the helmet logo. But overall, the purple and black really, really go well together, in my opinion. And now they've introduced a purple pant this year that, with their white uniforms, amazing. I'm not a big fan of it with the purple. It's a lot of purple and purple. I'm not a huge fan of that. But talking about their home and roads, they have black pants. That's actually very similar to the Jaguars. The Jaguars are similar to them, I should say. But outside of, obviously, teal versus purple. But they do use purple as their main, mostly, with black as a very predominant secondary. I do think those are really, really good uniforms. I won't put them in solid. I'm not going to put them in elite quite yet. I'm actually going to just put them just a notch below. I'm going to put them in solid because I do think that they might use a touch too much black at times. And their logo, I'm just not. It's kind of a cool logo, but on the other hand, I'm not a huge fan of it. Otherwise, it's a pretty good look, and it might jump into the elite tier at some point as we move on to different teams. Next up, even though it's wrong alphabetically here, is the Cincinnati Bengals, and let's start with the good because it'll be gonna be real quick. I love their helmets. I'm going to be frank on that. I think if they ever do a redesign, which they probably will at some point, God, I hope so, their helmets need to stay. I think it's unique. I love the stripe pattern. I think it's a freaking amazing helmet that needs to stay. Keep the helmet. It's a good helmet. I love the helmet. Beyond that, it's a pretty rough uniform, and it has been for a while now. This is a uniform they've had for a number of years now. I think since somewhere in the vicinity of 2005, maybe. And it definitely has that mid-2000s feel to it that some teams went to. The Buffalo Bills were also a guilty culprit of terrible design. Well, where to begin? Their home blacks aren't bad. I don't mind the. I think the shoulders aren't bad with the little stripe action. The numbers are okay. I'm not a big fan of how the numbers look. Those stripes on the pants though is awful. Just awful. And then the road uniforms are hideous. Individually speaking, for a non-alternate, the road uniform for the Cincinnati Bengals might be the worst uniforms in the sport. It is just god awful. The weird orange shoulders are not a good look. Despite it should work, I'm not a fan of the black number with the orange outline on the white jersey. That just doesn't seem right. And then again, the orange stripe on the pants, on black pants no less. The white might be a little bit of a better look, but man, it's a pretty brutal uniform. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities here. Again, outside the helmet, they need a uniform change. Their orange tops aren't bad, but we're not talking about alternates for the most part. But they're actually not all that bad. But this is a pretty terrible uniform. One of the worst in the sport. Definitely need a change, and you probably expect one in the next few years. I'm sure Nike won't want to be associated with that uniform for very long. They will be our first in the terrible tier. Yep, I am putting them in the terrible tier. Nephew and brother, both huge Bengals fans. I'm sorry, but these are bad uniforms, man. These are not very good. The homes are better than the ways, but honestly, not by a whole lot. It's one of those things that hey, some teams just have bad uniforms, and they need change. The Buffalo Bills are a great example of a team that had a very, very terrible uniform pre what they have now, and now they look absolutely amazing. And yeah, I mean, they're a very, very good uniform. Next up on our AFC North tour is the Cleveland Browns, who have changed their uniforms in 2020 to go back to their more classic look with a bit of a modern flair to it. With the helmet is more of the brighter orange that we saw with their last set, but it's more traditional. It's more what we associate with the Cleveland Browns, and it's an upgrade because these would be their old uniforms were atrocious. Outside of their color rush, which oddly worked despite being brown and orange. And let's get that right out of the way right now. These are two colors that I don't particularly care for to begin with. Orange and brown, they're two of my least favorite overall colors. So that's already a knock in their favor, or not a knock against them, I should say. So you have that, but it's not a horrible look. It's a pretty classic look. It's and when they wear their orange or brown pants, it seems more throwback-y to the 80s, which a lot of people love, which was really the last time the Browns were genuinely good for a long time. No logo on the helmet. It's very old school logo helmet. Obviously, they're the Browns. They're named after Paul Brown, if you didn't know, their founder, who ironically also founded the Bengals. And that's why their uniforms are so close in coloration. Obviously, I've heard people call for, they need a logo, they need to do something with the helmet, it's just too bland. Yay and nay. I mean, take it or leave it for me. I don't really care. I don't think the helmet's bad. It's unique, honestly, in the sport, other than the Steelers, a weird side thing. We'll talk about that. A lot of teams have, most teams have logos now on their helmet. All teams have logos outside of Washington, and they have numbers now, but they did have a logo. It's unique to them. So in that respect, I'm not gonna penalize them a whole lot for it. As far as the rest of the uniform goes, again, already starting at a bit of a behind the eight ball for me with the coloration, brown and orange. Not really a great two colors to put together, but it's their colors. It is what it is, and the white's not bad. Man, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put them above. I'm gonna put them below the Patriot. I'm not gonna put them in terrible because they're not terrible, but I'm not a fan of them. And a lot of it's their coloration. Obviously, the Browns will never change their colors, so it is what it is. I know it's gonna be tough for them to ever move up in my rankings because its coloration kind of sucks. But that's kind of how I feel about them. Again, this is once again, can't stress this enough. This is just opinions. Your opinion can definitely differ from mine and be 100% right, just like mine is 100% right. We all have our subjectiveness to something like this. This isn't set in stone. If you disagree with me, yeah, please feel free. Like, comment, subscribe below. Tell me why you think I'm wrong. Let me know what you think about these things. But this is just my opinion. Next up is our final AFC North team. The team tied for the most Super Bowl championships with the New England Patriots. The classic of all classics, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steel Curtain. They have a look. It's their look. They ain't going to change their look. They might change a few minor things here and there. They have over the years, if you actually look, maybe with a number fonting or something. But this is the Pittsburgh Steelers look. It's what they are. It's who they are. Black helmet. One side logo. Weird. Black uniform top. White top for road. Yellow pants. Black stripe. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a classic look. It's a traditional look. With that said, how do I feel about it? Again, this is just my personal opinion. It's a good look. It's a solid look. I'm probably putting it in a solid tier. I'm just going to get out of the way now. I'm going to put it below Dallas. A lot of yellow, and yellow is also one of the colors that I'm just not a big fan of. I'm actually not a fan of how their number font looks anymore. It's just a weird number font for me. I'm just not. I think the logo on the side or up on the chest area, on the I guess it'd be left side, seems large and unnecessary. Just my opinion on that. They do have one of the absolute worst alternate uniforms, the Bumblebee. Wow, those things are hideous. But those are not included in my ranking, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'm also not a fan of the weird non-double side thing. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I don't care, quite frankly. I'm just going by what my personal preferences are. I don't care about the history of the teams or anything like that. None of that freaking matters in a uniform tier list. I don't care. You guys can disagree with me how you want to. You guys be like, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're elite uniforms. Yeah, fine. That's your opinion. Absolutely. Boom in the elite tier. That's your opinion. That's not my opinion. They're solid. I think they're on the low end of solid. They're not my favorite uniforms ever, but hey, it's their look. It's traditional. The Pittsburgh Steelers. And you know what you're going to get from them. But yeah, so that's where I put them. It's a solid uniform. It really is. And, just a couple marks for the weird logo thing on this seems overly large. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the number font and the one-sided logo. Again, I get that's their thing, but I'm not a fan. Next up on the list, we are moving to the NFC North Division now. Another very classic look. Honestly, I don't think there's too much bad in this division. So we will talk about that. The first one up is the Chicago Bears, the not quite black and orange. It's more of a very, very dark, deep blue. It's often can be confused for black. It's completely understandable. It's a very, very, very dark blue. Very dark blue. But it's, for all intents and purposes, pretty much a black. So if you hear me say black, understand that I know it's not black. It's a very dark blue. It's a navy blue. It's a very dark navy blue. I know I may slip because it looks very dark. With that said, another very, very classic look. A pretty good look. They use black. I think they use... So like the Bengals have a black and orange look, and I think they just use way too much orange. Where the Bears, they understand that maybe we don't want too much orange. And it's a nice secondary color. It's a nice color to do outlines with, a nice color to not you. Again, they're not black, it's navy blue. But it's a fine jersey. It's a well designed uniform. It is a bit outdated though. It honestly hasn't aged the best. And it's weird. I love to see on the sides. It's a pretty classic look. Even though it looks like a horseshoe, which could, sometimes confuse people. But it's a very, I will say I'm not a fan of their white on black, their white top. I don't mind the black top with the white pants. I think that's fine. Because you go black, back, white. I don't like black, white, black. I think, or navy blue, white, navy blue. I'm just going to say black, because it's basically black. It's not black. I know it's not black. That's the last time I'm saying it. But it just seems to be too contrasting. And I like when they wear, and they do sometimes wear white pants with it. I think that's a better look for their road. But yeah, I mean, but it feels like, and they won't, and I understand why they won't, because the Bears are a classic look. They're a traditional look. They're, I think, the oldest team in the NFL, if not one of the oldest teams. And they've had this look for generations, and it's what the Chicago Bears are. But, a tweak or two wouldn't hurt. I'm not going to say go crazy Nike, Oregon Duck style nuts. No, of course not. Nobody wants that. But I feel like they need to modernize their uniforms a bit. They feel a little outdated. And, honestly, the Bears haven't been a highly successful franchise, especially in the last 20, 25 years, where you're talking about one Super Bowl appearance, and, they've been pretty bad. The quarterback issues, and maybe sometimes a new look isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm going to put the Bears again. It's a solid jersey. I would put average. I put it above the Jets. It's not a bad jersey by any stretch of imagination. It's starting to get outdated. It's starting to look outdated. It's starting to look like it's been around a long time. And I don't know. I'm not a designer, obviously. So, I'm not gonna go out there and be like, here's my uniforms for the Chicago Bears. No, that's not me. But I'm giving you my opinion on how I see these uniforms. And, it's a solid uniform. Don't get me wrong. But starting to look its age a bit. That's all I'm saying. It's a good uniform, though, but squarely an average. Next up for our NFC North teams is the Detroit Lions. I'm going to get off right off the bat. This is an elite look. I love the Lions look. I will put it above the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to get that out of the way now. Unfortunately, the Lions suck. This is an issue. But honestly, I think a few years back they pretty much removed black entirely from their colors, and I think it was a great move. With the sole exception of their font being maybe a little too futuristic-y, it's a really good uniform. I don't find a whole lot. Back in the 2000s, they modernized a bit. They didn't go crazy. Chicago, this is what I'm talking about. But they did some updates. They modernized their lion on their helmet, which I think is a much better look. And then they did a little bit of tweak. Again, they haven't drastically changed their uniforms, but it's different enough and it looks pretty damn good. It's a really good looking uniform. It sucks their team sucks. Because this would be a uniform you'd like to see win. Because it's a good uniform. It's a damn good uniform. Very good uniform. With maybe the exception of the blue pants. That might be a bit much. But other than the blue pants, even though actually that isn't a bad look. Looking at this uniform, it's a banger look. A+ look here. Alternate, all grades, not very good. But again, that's alternate. We're not talking, that's not really going in here. But yeah, I think the Lions have a really good look here, and it just sucks they suck. It'd be nice if they won because this is a really, really good look. And unfortunately, this look is the look of losers and not winners, and that's a shame because it's a damn good look. Our third team from the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, the green and yellow cheeseheads. If your cheese is green, you might not want to eat it. All right, the Green Bay Packers. This is the look I've loved since I've been a kid. Despite my misgivings on yellow, and I'm not the hugest fan of green also. But it's a darker green, which is a good look. I like the darker green look. It works with the... This is a look that, despite my misgivings toward the coloration, towards the color palette itself, is a really good look. It works well. You got the classic G on their helmet for Green Bay, not Georgia. Damn you, Bulldogs. They use their colors well. It's a really, really nice uniform. I will give docket points because that's a lot of yellow, and I'm not a fan of yellow. But I will put this just below the Eagles. In the elite tier. I love these uniforms. I really do. I love the Packers uniforms. I love their white uniforms. Their white uniforms are bangers, man. Again, I think this is a great look. I think it's a classic look, obviously. Not much change would be needed. A+ tier all the way around. And finally, our final team here in part 2. Last but certainly not least, the Minnesota Vikings. I alluded to them a little earlier to when I talked about the Baltimore Ravens and the color purple. They also use purple far more dominantly than even the Ravens do, along with a bit of yellow and white. And again, another fantastic look. This is... Before these, it was a bit rough. They weren't bad, but then they went to these, which kind of modernize a classic look that they had while not feeling stale. And I like these uniforms. I think those are really, really good. I love the helmet horn. I think that's fantastic. I love their use of yellow here. It's not overbearing. It's not punching you in the face. I also like color purple, which helps. The one I think is a big negative here is that number font is awful. Ugh. I get they want to make it little like horns on it for for the numbers because they're Vikings and horns. The number font's a bit rough. That would bang it down a little bit for me. It's a really good uniform though. I mean, it's a really good uniform. It's a solid uniform. It's a very good look. Not one of my favorites though. It is a lot of purple. It is a lot of purple. And as a, and I'm not a fan of purple pants at all, actually. So there is that aspect of it, and the number font is not very good in my opinion. But it's a pretty good look, and I think this is a solid look that they can build a foundation around. Minor tweaks maybe here and there, but honestly, I don't think there's need to change a whole lot here, and I would put them above even the Ravens. I think just below. I don't think they're elite. I would say they're a step below elite, but this is a really good uniform. This is a NFC North. I don't think there's a bad look in the bunch. I think all these look. I would say the Bears may have the most outdated design right now, but even then, I mean, it's a good look. And that, folks, has been part 2 of my uniform tier. We talked about the AFC and NFC North. We talked about the Browns and Bengals having some pretty bad uniforms. The Bengals especially need to overhaul in the worst way. But again, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe below. Maybe you disagree. Let me know why you disagree. What you like about maybe some of these uniforms, or what you don't like about some of the uniforms that I personally like. Because obviously I'd love to hear them. And these are just my opinions. And right now we are through 2 divisions on our quest to tier up all the uniforms. Next up, we will have some pretty modern designs with some sprinkled in classics with the AFC and NFC Souths, and that includes my Jacksonville Jaguars. Where will they be? Hint: it's not going to be elite, but we will get into that when the time comes. We have some pretty unique uniforms here, and some recent changes to uniforms as well, and I can't wait to talk about it. So until we get to part 3, I am Christopher with the Lunchroom Syndicate. Deuces.